So I just keep going, really with the rhythm, and yeah, I did. I ran it, so it was just insane. And this, I think, was one of the best feelings I ever had in water skiing. This sixth buoy, I remember, I was screaming like crazy. Like I was stoked, really stoked. Because yeah, my main goal in water ski life was, okay, break this 11,000 mark. And since 5 years ago was, okay, maybe one day I will run 1:10.7 in practice, if God can help me. Maybe the driver, or I don't know, maybe the rope is a little long. But year by year, this limit was just pushed ahead, far ahead, and I'm still learning and get better every year.
Hello, and welcome back, or welcome to the Water Ski Podcast. Man, I miss saying these words. This is Matteo Luzzeri, your host, and the goal of this podcast is to promote water skiing, the people in water skiing, the sport, primarily through interviews, but also through the occasional ramblings, whether solo or with a good friend on the other side of the microphone. I say I miss saying these words because I was in the Dominican Republic skiing with the Pigozzi family and a bunch of other friends and athletes who joined us down there. But the internet situation wasn't the best. Was strange. Like I could watch Netflix on HD quality, but I couldn't really upload my podcast on the server. So I took it as a chance to unplug a little bit for 5 weeks, but now I'm fresh and ready to post a lot of the interviews that I've collected, honestly, at the end of 2021. So those will be coming out in the ensuing weeks. This episode is the second part of my interview with Nicholas Benatti. Now, you heard the first part where Nicholas really talked about his journey and his history, personal history in water skiing. But in the first part, we were primarily focusing on tricks. Now, Nicholas also slaloms, and he's a very good slalom skier. So we focused more on that in the second part, talking about sort of like his views on slalom at first, and then an episode in 2016 that sort of made him reconsider and restructure everything, really, about his slalom skiing, and goals that he started to pursue within slalom that he amply passed. And so we talk a lot about his views on technique, some of the successes he has had, the first time he ran 39, and also a huge success at the San Gervasio Pro-Am of last year, which made him get second and win the Skier of the Day award by the crowd watching the TWBC podcast webcast. Now, before we get into adverts, I have a few announcements. The first announcement is that in order to quench the thirst for Water Ski Podcast episodes, I will also be releasing a special episode on Saturday. This is going to be a fun one. I've never done anything like that particular episode. So stick around. It will be published on Saturday of this week. The second announcement is that the Water Ski Podcast catalog has also been slowly uploaded on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed there, I suggest you doing so. And the reason for that is that I'm working hard to ensure my first ever video podcast episode, which will occur at some point this year. You will not want to miss this one. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So the best way to stay in touch and learn about this is to just subscribe to the channel. And it's also a good way to, if you want, share some old episodes and re-listen to them. I believe by the time of this recording, I got up to episode 20. but I've been cranking at it and uploading as much as I can whenever I have some free time. Also, another announcement is that Spotify now allows for podcast channel ratings. This is something that podcasters have been waiting for a long time, as a lot of people started to trust Spotify more and more for podcasts. So there's a chance to rate your favorite shows there. And if you have the Water Ski Podcast as one of those, I kindly ask you to give it a rate. There's no chance to do a written review like on Apple Podcasts and other distributors, but you can certainly throw some stars there. And also, the one final announcement I have is that there's a spot opening up for advertisement on the podcast. So if you're interested in using this platform to advertise yourself, your brand, or your ski school, whatever it is, you can just shoot me an email at matteo@thewaterskipodcast.com. I will now read some adverts. Please stick around. I try to make these interesting and support them. If you want to support the Water Ski Podcast, the best way is to take advantage of the brands and people that are promoting themselves on the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Real Frequency College Consulting, a consistent advertiser of our show. If you're a collegiate-bound student or a parent of one, this is an exciting and stressful time. It's common to become overwhelmed with the admission process, college research, deadlines, essays, and picking the perfect college ski club culture. If that's something you want to do, and we obviously highly encourage it because they're all pretty good. Like, collegiate water skiing culture is arguably the best culture in the sport. So are you and your student making the best decisions based on your strengths to increase success and mitigate risk? Real Frequency College Consulting is with you every step of the way. Real Frequency offers strengths and purpose-driven narratives for the edge you'll need to get through your hardest life path yet. Comprehensive college reports on over 6,400 institutions. 6,400. This is a lot of institutions. And, which is cool, extensive info for NCWSA affiliated schools. Financial planning from a college economics specialist, access to your very own admissions essay specialists, and so much more. This process can feel like running your hardest path, but it does not have to. Let Real Frequency take on the stress of admissions so you can enjoy the course and learn so much about yourself in the process. Go to realfrequency.com, that's REAL frequency.com, or you can text RFTWSP to 509-759-2317. That's +1 for United States, to schedule your free consultation. Real Frequency. The stress isn't worth it, but a college consultant is. So you can mention TWSP or Matteo is the man, and you will receive 6% off for your 9 to 12 months benefit. So again, realfrequency.com, mention TWSP or Matteo is the man, and you can receive 6% off for your 9 to 12 months benefit. This episode of the Water Ski Podcast is brought to you also by the Flowpoint Method. The Flowpoint Method is the online water ski training program developed by Jenny Labaugh and Marcus Brown. Jenny and Marcus leverage on years of experience and competency to give you a truly holistic approach to water skiing, covering technique, fitness, nutrition, mindset. And I cannot stress enough how important it is that they cover it all in one platform. I have skiers often that, whether I coach or I sort of get in touch on GiveGo or skiers that I chat with, and they always seem to try and narrow down what it is that they need to improve in order to up their scores or to improve their skiing. And it's rarely one thing, right? It's always a combination of these four and more that allow you to improve as skiing, particularly the better skier you become. So I think it's really good that they tackle it all from the get-go. So even if you're amateur, beginner skier, and you get into the Flowpoint Method, you get used to think about skiing within all these facets, not just about where your hips are or if you should change your fin, right? Which are very narrow-minded approaches. So for the Northern Hemisphere members, off-season started weeks ago. This means hitting the gym and working hard to prepare for a great 2022 season. Speaking of gym, what I truly love about the program is the extensive library of instructional videos showing proper technique and execution, which is something you really want to have when you're handling weights or doing some maneuvers that, if not done and executed properly, well, they could either be pointless and not targeting the muscles that you need, or even, make you more prone to injury. So really good that they have all these instructional gym videos. From amateur skier to seasoned pro, the Flowpoint method provides structure and guidance for anyone who's truly committed to take their skiing to the next level. And you can see it from their memberships. They have from the skiers that are learning how to run the course to Robert Hazelwood and Corey Vaughn and Manon Constard, who are, among the very best in the world. So how do you become a member of the Flowpoint method? You can go to waterskipodcast.com/flowpoint method, one word, or click on the link in the show notes. They have a free time-limited free trial that you can take advantage of to check out the system. And then should you decide to be a member, there are ways to do that also. So again, Flowpoint method, you can join by going to the waterskipodcast.com/flowpoint method. All right, that was a bit of a longer intro than usual. Let's then just jump right into part 2 of my interview with Nicholas Benatti. All right, Nicholas. So we left with the story of your Italian national record in tricks, which happened at the end of June of this year. Now, the following weekend was slalom, and you went onto worldwide stage with your performances at the San Gervasio Pro-Am. Before we get there, we haven't really spoken about slalom,
really?
so far, which is obviously your other event and a big part of your water skiing. When did slalom, or better, you had that moment in 2010 that sort of made you get serious in water skiing and started to pursue it a little bit more structured. How does slalom fit into that picture?
Okay. My slalom journey, I can say, started after, I don't remember which edition of San Gervasio Pro-Am, but was the edition when the first time Nate Smith came in San Gervasio.
2016.
2016. Okay, you're more expert about the editions.
Yeah.
I was there every time, but you are more expert in that. And so he came in San Gervasio, and my father was in the boat when he skied for the familiarization, and he saw his new style, I could say. And after he saw him, he said, okay, so what I told you till now, we have to erase almost everything and build again the new technique we have to do. And he explained me why. He tell me, okay, you're not strong, you're not tall, but you have a good technique. So we need to understand how to use the boat instead of your body, your power. Because in the past we were skiing, like I started skiing with the perfect pass, so I was a perfect pass skier.
Yep.
But when I was, I think 20, or something like that, the zero off came out, and so all the people start to change a little bit their technique. And I think that this system allows people like me to get good results, to be competitive.
Right.
So this, I think, was that push on the technique, and to understand that I also can do that. And so after that year, I started to focus really on slalom. So I was slaloming every day, and learning every day the little aspect of the technique. But I think the main thing was when I was younger, I had some like fear of the speed or of the pulling from the bow too hard, and I was not ready, and I was not an athlete, so I was like really light, and it was really hard to ski, and also my consciousness of the sport was not there. So I was skiing but didn't really feel what I was doing. So my technique was good till a certain point, but when you go to the short line, you need to also believe that all that you build in the technique have to be done with your mind, like instinctively, instead of just thinking about every little pieces that you're putting all together. So I started to learn how to be more conscious and to be more sure about myself. So and I really start to feel what I was doing with a good motivation, so to get better. So as I told you before, my main goal in life is to get better every day in every field. So I said, okay, I want to get better in slalom. I want to be the best Nicholas in slalom that can be. So we started that journey, and also that time the little things comes together. So I changed ski. So I passed from a 65-inch on a 66. So, and that helped me a lot at the beginning. So I was more consistent at 11. So I started to run 11 to 38 off every day. And I think the first year that I really, really focused on slalom, I started to run pretty much every tournament, 38. And I got like 3, I guess, 3 at 1075, almost all the tournament in every condition, so tailwind, headwind, and so I said, okay, this is the first part, but now I want to get better. And it helped me also in tricks, because as I told you before, in tricks I had certain year that I could not get better, so that was really hard on me. So and having slalom on the side, that I was every day learning new things and new feelings, new sensation, helps me also for tricks to get really motivated. And so I skied a lot of times more than I used to in slalom during the season, because maybe if we go in like 5 years ago or 6, before I really started on focusing, I was skiing slalom maybe 3 times a week, just to have a slalom set, just to change my mind. But maybe for weeks I didn't slalom. It was just I don't know, not really, not focus on the result. I was more focused on the happiness to ski.
Yeah, just to do something different. Do you think, maybe it's a strange question, but do you think that experience that Claudio had watching Nate on that practice ride, which by the way was insane, like glare on the water, running 10-2 after waiting for his bag for days, he didn't get his ski bag, in the one of the hottest summers that I recall in San Gervasio, and on average summers in San Gervasio are really hot. Do you think, obviously it did something to you, right? But do you think it did something to him about your skiing? Like he now, you see what I mean? Like he now had something new to try with you, and that got him stoked as well? Or
yeah, no, for sure. That's the reason. Like my father is, I don't know. I think I didn't ski a lot with the other coaches, but for sure it's one that is not like stuck in his style. So I remember when West Coast came out, we tried with the West Coast, and so it's I think he has this getting better every year as a coach, as an athlete, and these things like motivating him coach me. And I feel that when the people believe in me, I really feel the help, and I really trust them in the journey. So every day we were really together in this slaloming, you know, because in tricks we get to the point where it was just small things, so it's tough. It's tough also because as I said, I'm really hard on myself, so it's really hard to coach me. But in slalom was different. So I saw a different perspective of the sport that I didn't remember before. I was not having these feelings.
Or maybe you hadn't had it in a while. Like it had been a few years that you were just like working, smudging edges, like really trying to work on those little things to improve in tricks from that already high level. It was almost like a breath of fresh air that you now were interested into this and got really into it. It probably gave you different rewards, say.
Yeah, and I'm like when it's slalom in competition, it's completely different than when it trick. Like when it trick, my feelings are more stressed, and I have more expectation. So it's harder to have a good result in that situation. In slalom, I probably ski better in tournament than in practice, because I just go, I say, okay, 13, 12, I want to ski well, so the people that can see, okay, he's skiing well, and then when 11, 10, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if I fall, I don't care. But because I understood that every little things that happens in slalom is still learning, In tricks, I'm more further. I'm still have a lot of things to learn, but in slalom, every set, I feel that I learn something, so...
Yeah, your awareness, as you were saying before, in tricks has gotten to a pretty high level. It's just started to grow later in slalom.
Yeah.
So
so now I can say, like, slalom is my event. Like, I don't know, I got really obsessed on slalom. I
can testify that, yeah.
I watched... I have to say thanks to the broadcasting company, because thanks of them, I saw all the competition, all the skiers, and I'm really happy when I see people like me. So I prefer to see like a new competitor in the pro event, so I can say, okay, maybe it's me.
Yeah,
could be me.
It could be you.
Yeah, in that time. So one day it's gonna happen to me as well. So we said, okay, usually to be part of the pro am, you need 3 at 1075, and I already had this result. But I said to myself, okay, I'm not gonna go there before I run 10.7. That was the motivation to do all the tournaments I could in slalom to run 10.7 in tournament. And another reason why I'm pushing in slalom is in Italy there are pretty much slalom competition, and in tricks maybe we have few, and the most are in my home in my ski school. So in slalom I can have different experience. So I before was not possible that I go to the competition where there's just slalom there. But now I'm going also for that reason, And when I ran for the first time 10.7 was a slalom tournament. So I remember I changed my setting,
What was it? 2018, 2019?
No, 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
End of season, Sperlonga tournament, classic slalom at the end of the Italian season.
Yeah.
How was it, that set? Like, were you running 10.7 in practice before you went down, or?
Yes, I was running 10.7 the last week, maybe once a set. I was there, like I was really close. But yeah, my goal was to pass number 4, buoy 4, because
So that was your PB at the time.
My PB was 4, and so my goal was to pass that mark. And so as I told you, I was there without any expectation. I remember the first round, I missed 11, which I think was the only one I missed in all the season. So I maybe I remember I counted like 20 sets in tournament and 20 times running 11.
Yeah.
And so the first round I didn't run 11. It was a little bit strange. I said, okay, no, not good. But I had the second one, and I said to myself, what I have to change? And I think, okay, no, there's nothing to change. Just ski. Probably is the travel. We need to drive 8 hours, so we get there late in the previous night. So I said, okay, we are doing the same things, and we'll see what's gonna happen. And I remember the set I was not skiing like perfectly, but I felt like I was always early in the course. Mm-hmm. So probably my upper body was not always in the perfect position, but the ski was there.
Right,
ski was going. And so, yeah, I started this 10-7. I started well. So usually I start really bad and fight since the beginning, from the get-go. But that time I started well. So I knew that when I start well, I could run it. So I just keep going really with the rhythm. And yeah, I did.
Yes.
I ran it. So it was just insane. And this, I think, was one of the best feelings I ever had in water skiing. Mm-hmm. This 6 buoy, I remember I was screaming like crazy. Like I was stoked. Really stoked. Because yeah, my main goal in water ski life was, okay, break this 11,000 mark. And since 5 years ago was, okay, maybe one day I will run 1:10.7 in practice. If God can help me, maybe the driver, or I don't know, maybe the rope is a little long.
Yeah.
But year by year, this limit was just pushed ahead, far ahead, and I'm still learning and get better every year. So yeah, I was there. I was just stoked, and I remember the driver was a friend of mine, Omar from Sperlonga, and he told me, how many buoys you do when you get into 41, 10-2. And I said, Omar, I don't know. Probably I tried a few times. Usually when I run 10-7, I tried again to get better, to run it one more time. And he said, okay, so how many buoys you want to do? I'm trying to. So I remember this gate. I was like with my ears in the water. And I said, okay, no, I'm going to crash on one. But I don't know how. Probably as this positive adrenaline, I just turned one. And I had a good pull to 2 and took the 2. So I was a 2 at 41. Yep. And I won the tournament. I beat also Brando. But yeah, Brando was already in the off season. But for me, it was huge,
Of course.
Because Brando did like 1.5, not some buoys at 11. So it was hard. And yeah, it was a big things to me.
Yeah, no, that's one of those sets where that stay with you, And I mean, look, 2F41 is 2F41, It's still a humongous score. I have a question. So you talked about how in slalom, maybe now it's different, but like the general mode is, no expectation, go out, ski hard, do your best, and whatever comes, no regrets. In tricks, on the other hand, you're probably not there. And I'm assuming because you've had some successes, right? So after you start to have some success, it's really hard to go into tournament not expecting anything, like because you've had some good scores, some good wins, some podiums. I guess going back to the tricks a little bit, how are the two different? Like, you show up to a tournament in an event like tricks where you have expectations and you should have them because you're at a certain level and you've had success, versus slalom where, everything that comes is a little bit of a bonus, you know. It's all like, can you talk a little bit about the difference in that experience, maybe as you prepare for a tournament or as you show up to a tournament?
For sure, I have a different warm up. Like in tricks, I try to warm up the legs, like doing some jumps with the rope or without, and trying the run on the floor, just to try to remember the feelings that I have when I ski. And I think I'm really good on that. Like I'm good on visualization. So I try to feel all the things that I'm working on, and yeah, so it's more mental for tricks. In slalom, I just I run. I have a little run, and I try to wake up all the muscles I need. So also the shoulder, the back, you know.
Yeah.
And I try to use the handle, you know, before I go, just to simulate what I'm gonna do on the water. And for me, the two events are completely different. Like slalom, you have 13-12. This is warm up, you know.
Right.
So I like to ski, so I love to be in the water. So slalom, you have always these two passes where you just, you know that you're gonna run it, and you have fun, and you start like 70% of the intensity. So it's a different, you can be less stressful at the beginning. You're going to get there, of course. You're going to get to the shoreline where you have to do all the things proper. But in tricks, when you start, you are 100%. So you start, you have to go. There's nothing before.
Yeah.
So, so that's why it's different. So my warm-up, it's a little bit more intense, because I need to be more, my body have to be already awake and ready to perform at the highest level. In slalom, it's more, okay, progressively I got there.
Yeah.
So these are the difference I feel, and mentally it's just, tricks. It's the 20-second, you know. It's a different game. You can ski well, but maybe not fast enough. So you have to take some risk more, you know, than slalom. Slalom, you're gonna take the risk when you already had some turns and you had fun already. In tricks, it's the fun, you have it at the end if you stand up. In slalom, It's more like you leave more the little process, I guess. I mean, for myself, it's that way. No,
I can see that. Definitely the stark difference of, 32, 35 versus mob, reverse, front flip, like you're starting full gas right away. But I guess what I was alluding more, it's like the mindset into it, right? Like, so in tricks, I don't think you just go and then see what happens. Like, there's some expectations. There's, like whether it is because you've been working on it for a longer time, or you've been working for a longer time on the smaller things, which of course, by the way, make the biggest difference, because the difference between 10-8 and 11-2 is the difference between, 10 places on the ranking or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear also the warm-up is different because the event is different, right?
Yeah, it's different, yeah.
Beyond your own expectations about placing or not placing. Now, speaking of expectations, you skied your first Pro-Am this year as a pro, right? So you said, okay, I'm not going to ski pro until I have a 10-7 in the bag. You did it at the end of 2019. 2020, unfortunately, we didn't host the San Gervasio Pro-Am because of COVID. Excuse me. And then in 2021, this year, you skied as a pro. Before we get to how well the tournament went for you, what were the feelings? Like you were wearing a different color bib, you were skiing with the pros. Where was the mind?
I was just excited, I used to compete that tournament as an amateur, and I think I won the last two. Like not one because the the best score in the amateur is not the one that win, but win the people that gets better handicap score, so it beats their record or something.
Yeah, whoever improves the most generally wins. Yeah.
So.
But you scored the highest twice in the amateur.
In
Open.
the amateur, yes, but I was really like, I remember like Kiko was on the dock for the first round, and I said, okay, I'm at home, and I'm really happy to be here, because I said, okay, when I run 10.7, I'm gonna be participating, so just go, I'm gonna have fun for sure.
Yeah.
And like the people are gonna watching me, and I'm part of this, and I was really honored to ski with these great athletes and the skier that I look up to in the event of slalom. But I didn't have any expectation. I had some experience like the past year before the tournament, because I won nationals. I think I won open nationals once, I think. And so I had the opportunity to understand what it feels to be there to win. Because it's a completely different perspective of what I was used to. So I was skiing just to ski, just to have fun, just to try my best. But I also experienced the fear of being a slalomer, and it's not good, It's not good. It's just that you have pressure on yourself. So so I had these two experiences, and then I think the biggest one was at the beach games, Mediterranean Beach Games in 2019,
right,
just before I ran 10.7.
That's right.
Where I in that tournament we were like 4 or 5 skier that can win. Of course, like there were Kyprios, Philippos that was better than the others, but then I had the chance to the podium. So we skied the preliminary round, and I was second. So, and for the final, I knew that with 2 at 39 for the backup score, I could be second. So I remember run 11 and thinking about, okay, so now I have to go to the second ball, and wow, this is a new feeling. Usually I go, it doesn't matter if I do half, but now I have to stand up and go to 2, and so I did it, and I understood this. So before this Pro Am, I had some experience that helped me, I think, to skip like at that level. Of course, it's not the level that used to be to the top 20 in the world, but it was a really hard competition for me, for my level.
Yeah, you had experience of like, if I run this, I place here. If I don't place. Like like those type of slalom skier experiences.
But it never happened to me.
You started to have it. Because I think in tricks you might have some of that, but it's a little bit stranger, right?
Yeah, because you have your run. You have your run. You go with your run. Maybe you can try the easiest one or the other one, but it's not the same run of the other one. So it's different.
It's very different. Yeah.
You think more about yourself, but that time, for the first time, I had to ski for the result, not for the prestation.
For the performance.
Performance. So at this San Gervasio Pro Am, so I was like changing skis every day, pretty much. This start of the season was a little crazy. Because I was skiing on a D3, and then I thought, okay, this ski is, how do you say, it's not stiff enough now, it's old, and then Freddy ran 3 at 41 with that ski, so I was just, okay, maybe it's not the ski. But so I was really lucky to meet this guy from Cyprus, Savas. That trust me, they believe in me in slalom, and he said, okay, I'm gonna give you a ski, and you can try the ski, you can use it for free. And it was another new things for me. Like usually it happens to me in tricks with some brands, but never happened in slalom. So I said, okay. So I reached a good level. So the people like
Notice you, yeah.
notice me. And so so I remember the week before I just changed. I had like a SP,
Yeah.
SP green, and I said no, the ski is not working. It was just, I'm becoming a slalomer, as everyone is listening can understand me, I think. And I said no, I'm gonna use the orange.
Yeah.
We also tried the D3 again, but what of course was not the ski. It was my mind, because I was really focused on make a good result at the Pro-Am, just to be at least competitive. And so I remember I was skiing like 3 at 39, the maximum score, but I was happy because I had the feeling that I could ski a little bit more. And so first round I didn't ski well, like I was struggling with 11, really hard time. And then before me skied Edo that did 2.5, I guess. So I said, okay, if I go to 3, I had the chance to go to the final, because this year was a little bit strange because not all the people from USA came for the COVID and all the restriction. So we were just 9 pro and 8 passed to the final for the head-to-head. So at that time the goal was, okay, now I have to go to the head-to-head because
right.
I have a chance. I have a little chance, but I have the chance.
Right.
So first round I was 9th. So I was out. And I didn't understand why I'm skiing so bad. And so my father was on the shore watching me, and he said, okay, you're not doing bad. You're just like when you're doing the onside pull, your arm are too close to you. Just relax your arm and just accelerate, because you're not accelerating anything, so you're going slow. But when you ski, you're not feeling that.
Yeah.
You feel the opposite. You feel that you're going faster when you're not doing the right things. So the second round I said, okay, this is the chance I have. I have to at least score more than 3. And so 11 was better, a little bit aggressive, but doesn't matter. No, I was focused. And I remember turning 1 really bad. I said, okay, wow.
10 at 10-7.
At 10-7, the first ball was not good. Then I did a really good 2, and it just kept going. And I don't know, I managed to get to 5. So I knew I had a good chance to be in the head-to-head final. But of course, all the other skiers had to ski, and all of them, they were capable to beat me. So I was there. I was just happy, I did what I was capable to do, even more, because in practice I didn't run more than 3, so I did 5. I was really happy. And the funny things is that on the Saturday is my day off at work.
Mm-hmm.
So usually on Sunday I work all day to recover the time I lose on Saturday. So I supposed to work on Sunday, but I got to the final. So I said, okay, tomorrow morning I have to compete, to have a head-to-head. And I was against Benjamin Stadelbauer.
Yeah, because he ended up 8th.
Yeah.
And Benny was top seed after the prelims. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, okay. But the following morning I had to work. So I work from 8 in the morning until 10:30, because I was supposed to ski at 12, and I had 40 minutes driving. So I was just working, change my clothes, go to the car, drive. Okay, mom, I'm gonna come back, I think at 1. I have to compete against Benny, then I go home. I come back to work. Okay, no problem. Okay, see you later. Then the first round, I don't know how, I beat Benny. I beat Benny I was second from the dock, so he scored 5. And I remember Beta was in the boat, and Manuel, and I said to them, okay, I'm gonna try it. Why not? We go to 6. So I was really pumped. I was already happy to run 11 in the head-to-head, because okay, I was competitive at least. And I don't know how I managed. Like I had to use all my power, all my muscles to pull from 5 to 6. I was completely on the tail of the ski with all the rope in the water, a lot of slack, and I threw the ski out, and I was not sure about to take a quarter or not, but I was just so happy and so pumped. And then the judges' the decision came, and it was 5 and a quarter. I was just amazing, you know. I was living a dream. So all day I just lived a dream, you know. I said, okay, I'm living a dream, so everything can happen now. You know, it's my day probably.
Yeah.
So I just follow this positive feeling.
So yeah, you were you were a little stressed because mom was waiting for you at work because now you've won, but obviously then your mind was on the skiing. And by the way, interesting fact, you and Thomas, from my recollection, are the only 2 8th seeds that won against first seed this year. Because I believe Thomas beat Nate at California, where Nate was top seed and Thomas was bottom seed, was 8th. So you're there. You're now. Who was your next matchup?
Was Nick Parson.
Nick Parson.
And I remember the funny thing is that we had the same name behind the bib.
Right.
But like, I don't know, 40 centimeters difference between me and him. Like
in height.
In height, yes. It was just, we went there and I think I start first. I ran 12 and 11 in rodeo fashion, as Matteo Yanni said. Rodeo fashion, like somehow. And I don't know how, but because Nick is skiing great this year and he fell at 11. So, I was happy to be in the final. I was not happy for him because I was a little bit lucky because it never happened in the tournament that the best skier missed 11. But the conditions were not super perfect. It was raining, and so probably something makes his effect on him, or probably skiing against me, you know, because it's hard when you ski against one that there's nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So probably this feeling, and all the people were there and then push me. All the people that was there to watch the tournament was with me probably because no one expected anything. So you push this kind of athlete. So I was in the final. So I had to call back my mom. I said, "Okay, mom, I'm in the final." So every rounds I did that. So I'm not gonna come because I have to ski the final. And okay, she was happy, but before the final, I was not so happy because she was there waiting for me for, I don't know, 8 hours, and she wanted to rest. But yeah, I was there. I have to ski the final, no matter what. Yeah,
exactly.
So I was against Tigas because Freddy didn't ski the semifinal because he had an injury.
So the 2 semifinals were you against Nick, Freddy against Thomas. Yeah. Freddy decided not to ski because of an injury. So Thomas had a bye. So it was you versus Thomas in the final.
Yeah. So I remember we started at 12. 12 for me, it's just stiff. Stiff. It's really hard. I think I never tried before this tournament to start 12. I did sometimes to start at 11 because I had some runoff at the Europeans, but never at 12. And so was hard. We did the first pass and then it starts to rain so much. So I said to myself, okay, maybe I have a chance in these conditions, but at the same time I say, no, it's not fair, you know. We need to ski in a better conditions because probably I could have like a bigger chance to win in big rain, but it was not fair for me. Really, it was not fair. I will ski my best, and I want that also my opponent have a good condition, like to perform. So we together, me and Thomas, decided to stop and to wait a little bit and then try it again after 20 minutes. We did it. So, and then I did like what I could do. I was destroyed. I never skied so many times in slalom in a day with this pressure. It was not a pressure, but at the same time, when you're there, you want to win, of course. So I tried my best. I did 3 at 10.75. I did 5 easily. And yeah, so I was just so happy, and I think it's the best results of my life for sure.
Yeah, best slalom tournament ever, which got you, a nice little check, second place. And I can see it here, a little tanker here that says, to you, Healthy Snack, skier of the day at the 2021 San Gervasio Pro-Am.
Yeah.
So that means the crowd around the world deemed that you were the skier of the day, which, I mean, that I think out of all the tournament that day was probably the easy choice to say that you were the skier of the day.
Yes, that day, yes, for sure. It was unexpected for sure. And I remember the day before when I got 5, I said to Tony, "I'm the skier of the day." I was
Right.
just joking with him, and the next day he gave me the prize, the bottle of To You with the skier of the day. So I said, "Oh, I told you," but I was not expecting anything, and it was just really nice memories of the season. And after the prize giving, I had to jump in my car, come back and work until midnight because I had to do all the papers for the hotel. So, and my head was not working because I was still excited. So no focus anymore. My brain energy were gone, but I was so happy I could work until 7 in the morning, no
Right.
problem.
Right. Yeah, I bet. Now, going to slalom, what are some of your, I guess, fundamentals? Like, what are some of the things that when you slalom, you really key on and you focus on? And I know that over time they change, but some of the things that you look for, that you pursued when you're trying to slalom at your best.
For sure, the rhythm. I try to start with the rhythm and finish the pass with the same rhythm, and use the swing from the boat to feel that, to have the same pull each side, each buoy. I have a lot of things to improve, and so it's hard to say. I can say that I have a good approach on the onside, because I trust myself to get out to the buoy and to have a good turn. So yeah, that's the onside turn for sure. It helped me a lot, and also the balance I have from tricks, because I don't think slalomer, like just slalomer skier that they don't do tricks, can do what my upper body do in the turn, because sometimes I'm really inside with the shoulder and like in strange positions. But at the end of the day, I probably have some balance from the other event that helped me to survive.
Yeah.
So yeah, and probably I'm light, so I can accelerate well also if I don't have a good turn.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of things that are good, but I think the rhythm and the onside turn.
Yeah. So those are the things that you deem are good about your skiing.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you I don't know, feel that you need to improve, or that you've been working to sort of get better? And I know they might be changing now that you're on a new ski, but like some of the things that you, when you think about your slalom, is things that you feel that, if you were to improve, then the buoys would come, the usual thought process.
Okay, one thing is technical and the other thing is physical. Like we start with the first one. So I have, for sure, as every skier in the world, have to improve the gait.
Yeah.
Because my gait is probably, I don't know how to, because when I see the other skier, when I watch them, I saw that they are really consistent out of first ball, and I'm not. So I'm still, we are still, with all my teammates and coaches, understanding how I can be a little bit more consistency after first ball. So of course it's not start there, starts before. So we are working on the gate, and this year I was improving a lot on that. And my main problem was to didn't let the handle far away, so I had always my elbow too close to me, so I didn't get enough speed from the turn till the first wake till the first wake. So I had the pull from the boat in a place where when you are not strong, you're not ready. So I usually ended up narrow and without any without the balance to turn a good one. So we are working on that a lot. And on 135, my left shoulder is always down, and so too low. And in this position, you're like the ski is just not on the edge, and you have not the confidence of turning. So and you don't have the rope tight. So we are still thinking about how to fix it, because it's not just to stay up with the shoulder. It's few movements together. Probably the pull in the onside pull, as I told you, and in the edge change, probably to try to understand how to let the ski goes a little bit wider from my body. So I feel that my ski is always too much behind my feet, like under my feet, instead of going out, which is one of the good things I do on the 2-4, that I let the ski go out. And for sure, this could help me to get to the edge and have a better turn, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, as I told you, I'm obsessed. So I'm already, now that I'm injured, I'm thinking about what can I do next year to get better.
Yeah, as I said, like the second I showed up to your house, that's the first thing you welcomed me with. Matteo, I know what I need to work on when I get back. What about the physical side? You said there was a technical side.
So yeah, the physical side is okay. In the last few years, I stopped playing soccer during the winter time, because I used to play soccer, because I'm a really fan of as almost all the Italians.
Right.
So I was playing soccer in a team here, but of course I had a lot of fun. I'm not bad at it, but at the same time was not the right exercises to be ready to perform in skiing. So I decided to stop. So I started to build my home routine for like a workout, and then we have COVID, so we worked pretty much at home. And this year I was ready. Like I worked really well. We worked together.
Yeah.
I also with Zoom or whatever to be together, work with a teammate. We had a really good job. We did a good job, but at the same time, I recognize when I ski short line that the next day I'm not able to ski. So probably my muscles fibers got like broken because I'm not strong. So I think this winter time I'm gonna work more on the strength side also for improve that, because if you are like a pro skier, like you understand at a certain point that you have to ski the short line every day.
Yeah.
Mostly when you are in the season. But I'm not able because my body doesn't allow me to do that. So that's why I think to put 1 or 2 strength training during the week, and maybe once during the season as well to keep my strength up and to be ready to react when the boat pull me after the turn.
Yeah. So both technical and physical, and yeah, we were just talking about it off record, how I've been doing some strength training as well, and it is apart from being a more complete athlete in general, like it seems like it would be at the very least allowing you to try short line more often, which at the end of the day, you know, yes, you can try technique at 12 or 11, but you know, at the end of the day, if you want to run 10 or 10-2, you have to try them. You know, you have to be able physically to do the reps. Slightly different question, although connected. You mentioned, you know, how, you know, you and your girlfriend, you know, founded a rhythmic gymnastic gym, and obviously you had a chance to observe her, she's the coach there. in terms of structure. And I know that you enjoy doing a bit of ski coaching yourself. When you have someone in front of you, say slalom, right? You're trying to help someone with their slalom. What are some of the fundamentals that you look into a skier?
I mean, I never had the opportunity to start to work from the ground. So I always had people that already know how to run the course. So I try to see what for me is the biggest mistake and try to help me that way to get a little bit better, because my coaching side is not frequently.
Yeah.
Because I'm working in the hotel and I come to the ski school just for ski, and then of course if I can I jump in the boat when you ski and I try to help you, but it's a different story to tell you something to you or to tell something to a people that really needs your coaching, your just technical aspect. For sure, the first thing when I have a beginner in front of me is the ensure him or her to be safe on the slalom course, or so build a position where they can be safe. No, because the accident in slalom are not light, can be really hard mostly for the amateurs here. So build a balanced position. So this is the first thing that I'm looking to. So then probably they will feel more safe on the ski. They trust themselves more, and then maybe after that we can work on the other big things.
So even just the stance over, like behind the boat, over the ski, how they're positioned.
Yeah, we start. Yeah, I'm really hard on the pull out. Like for me, it's if you stand in a good position in the pull out all the course, maybe you can maintain this position, or you have you experience the right position every pass. If you start bad, you don't know if this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I start from the get-go and I build a little brick every time. Yeah, this should be my way.
Right. Right.
And then try to see all the quality, because everyone has good quality and bad quality. It doesn't matter the level, but everyone has something that goes better than, and then so you can see the big mistakes and trying to help them, but also like let the people have fun, So if I have to say something, I don't say too many things. I prefer to say just one thing and we work on that, and
repetition.
And I want also to see and to hear if the skier feel it, the sensation they have.
So the feedback that they give you.
Yeah.
Same question for tricks. So you're trying to help someone in tricks. You're riding in the boat. And I know obviously the variability in tricks is much broader. Like depends on the trick they're doing or the level they're at. But in general, what are some of the things that you look for when you're trying to help a trick skier?
Yeah, I'm really hard on the basics. So I work on the edging from the back position, because maybe the beginners or they don't have the right position. So I think that everything comes from a really good basic position, good basic tricks, and from there we can start to work. But if I see like people like can ski already 5,000, but with for me the wrong position, it doesn't matter for me. I come back, I do 10 steps back and I said, no, we have to fix that, because because I also had my experience that for some tricks we didn't work on it because we said maybe we're going to do it later, but then it's going to get harder.
Yeah, so, later doesn't come, and then you have that bad habit, and then it stays with you, and then it might impede you from learning a new trick. Yeah.
So I can say that I don't have a lot of experience in coaching, but I think I watched tons of video. I think I watched all the YouTube video of water skiing.
That there are.
Yeah, also from, I don't know, Mumbai 1993 or whatever. I saw a lot of videos. So I know how the tricks have to be when I watch someone.
Yeah.
To be done, you know. So I think I can be ready to help the people to ski proper, you know, to ski better. We'll see. Maybe in the next years I will have some. Maybe when I stop, you know, doing my skier career, I'm gonna have some free time to help at the ski school. I'll be really happy.
Well, I mean, I certainly look forward to that time. And I think part of it is also the fact that not only were you coached by your dad, who in my estimation is one of the best coaches in the world, your dad is also big on basics, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's slalom or trick or jump, like the amount of drills that we have been put through and he still puts through skiers give you that sort of framework of like, okay, the basics have to be proper, you know? And I think it's a remark of a lot of good coaches.
Yeah, I listened to the podcast of Joel talking about his coach.
Yep.
It was basics 360. So yeah, it's the way, you know. It's the way.
And probably correct me if I'm wrong. It's very coherent with gymnastics.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of repetition of the basic movements.
Yeah, but also in other things like in water ski, when you do a mistake, you fall.
Right.
And all the amateurs or the young skier doesn't like to fall because it's boring. You have to wait the boat come back. So we need to help them to have less chance to fall, to have a good position so they can understand maybe if they fall, because if they don't understand that, it gets even harder to coach.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, so creating the awareness in the skier as well. So even if they fall, if they have to wait for the boat to come back, at least they understand possibly why they're falling and what happened. Which in my opinion also makes it for a much more complete athlete, right? Much more aware athlete. And then the other thing that we didn't speak about too much is the fact that you also worked in Sao Paulo for 3 years.
Yeah, probably 3 or 4.
So you spent a lot of time in the boat with your dad coaching, right?
Yes.
What was that like? Were you intrigued? Were you trying to absorb? Like, what was that experience?
Absolutely. Like, I want to get better. So I was in the boat and I was listening and maybe think to myself, okay, what I would say if I was in the coaching side.
Right.
You know, so I always had this critical aspect of listening and trying to learn, but also to think in my way. And so I learned from my father a lot of things, but not all the things maybe he said are the one that I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not when I'm skiing. I trust him, of course. But when I see other people skiing, maybe I have other ideas.
Right.
So, but these things happens because this critical way of looking I had, and of course I learned everything from him, from him being in the boat with him.
Yeah, which and I like how basically starting to work in Sao Paulo was right after that 2010 incident. So you were in that time to work, time to get better, and also you were in the boat listening a lot to your dad coaching. So again, he gave you an opportunity to become better, at the very least at understanding water skiing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting sort of like shift of events, you know, like from kind of skiing to have fun to now you're working at ski school, now you want to be improving, to get serious, you know. There must have been a very interesting moment in your water skiing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's my behavior now changed completely. My mindsetting changed completely.
Yeah, for sure. No, and just watching the way in which you prepared this season was the testament to that. And then unfortunately we were starting to get ready for Worlds together, and you sustained an injury.
Yeah.
What happened?
My usual injury was caused by too much training. This year was not because of that. It was just bad luck. Like I was doing toes, 2-way climb back to back reverse, and my last trick. So sometimes I land with my body a little bit forward, and I put my hand in the water to just keep the balance. But that time, my right arm goes, I think, between the top of the wake and the bottom. So I think in that part you have more bubbles or something, or current from the water. So my hand just stay down and my elbow goes forward, and my shoulder just came out. So I dislocated. It was hard because I didn't have so much time to be ready for Worlds. We try all the best with our doctor Lorenzo Benassa, which helped me a lot to view all the situation, to have a good view, and all the people behind me and that surrounding me, like you, my father, Gennady, all the people that I trust, and I know they have I don't know, they love me, they love me.
Yeah.
So I asked them what to do. So we try to come back, but we see that certain movements were not ready, and the time was ticking, and we were close to leave for US, and we take the decision to have the surgery first and miss the Worlds, but be ready for the next season, instead of going to Worlds maybe 70% and lose the first part of the next season.
Because just to give a bit of context, so you dislocated your shoulder, which, by the way, I've watched that video. You had a GoPro in the boat. I wasn't there that day at the lake, and from the video, it's so strange to think that such an injury happened. And in fact, Claudio and Gennady are not even rushing back because it doesn't seem like it just seems like a normal fall. And then it's quite impressive to see you step up on the boat with the shoulder not what it's supposed to be. But then you got checked, and basically they said, like, you're gonna need surgery. If not now, later, but you're going to need surgery. And then the attempt came to try and possibly prepare for Worlds. But then you gave me a good rationale, and I'll be fully disclosing here. In my mind, I was thinking, why the hell are you trying? I understood why. It's Worlds. It's finally a Worlds in a good site. It's but you could tell that it was tough. Like you would have been going there 70% or less. But in my heart, and I remember talking about this with my father, with your father, it wasn't up to us to tell you what to do, right? It was a decision that you had to make, because and nobody else could take that decision for you. And I remember you told me, look, I've made finals at 2 World Championships. I'm not going to go to a World Championship just to make the final. I want to go there and be competitive and attempt at something more. And I think that came the realization that it wasn't going to be possible this year.
Yeah.
And so you ended up getting surgery, a month and a half ago?
Yeah, the 22nd of October.
Yeah.
So now I had to stay completely out of everything for 1 month without moving.
So what type of surgery? Like, what did the doctor have to do?
I think in my case they just they put an artificial ligament to reinforce the articulation.
Yeah.
And then they had to repristinate the bones where the capsula and how do you say the bones of the arm here, omer are connected, because where a little part on the base was broken, so they have to fix that also to have the same base, and so a good stability of the articulation
Of the joint, yeah.
of the joint. Yeah. So yeah, they did that, and now I have 3 months of rehab. I started 2 weeks ago, and I feel that every day I regain a little movement. So yeah. So no, but I never thought it was a bad decision. I always that's the thing that helped me a lot to understand that it was the best decision I made. Yeah. So yeah, no problem. I'm gonna be ready for next season, and I was really sure that this year is gonna be the highest ever trick tournament. It's never happened. So I knew that with 70%, probably I wasn't able to get to the final, or maybe got to the final as he told, and nothing more, So
right.
No sense to spend 1 month there and then get the surgery, I don't know, in January or February, whatever, because then it's not easy to have the surgery from the country, I don't know how to say, but I went privately with the insurance, but if I went with
the National Healthcare Service, it would have taken forever, and you don't know who's doing surgery, and which we are lucky in Italy that we are insured through our national team, and we have great support on the medical side. Now, obviously, as you said, thanks to the TWBC, you watched a lot of slalom this year. Yeah. I'm gonna venture in saying you probably watched the tricks at the Worlds. Yeah. Thoughts? What do you think about that tournament?
That I had reason, because I knew that it's gonna be tough, and in fact, all the skiers just skied awesome. Also, in the last Worlds, I was participating. I did 10,000, and it was almost the last in. So I said, okay, this year is gonna be even more. And in fact, was like that. Like all the skiers now are really ready. A lot of skill. Like if in the past maybe you have 10 people really good and the other ones one step back, now you have 20. Yeah. So the level just rise up incredibly because of the young skier now that are probably also the culture. Every year our sport is young. And it's learning how to be better, and all the people try to improve the technology, also the skis, and the coaches are more maybe they were a great skier, so they can help the other ones. Yeah. So it's just the next generation, So I think also me and you, as I told you off records, that we can be like this part for the Italian new young skier, because before our generation, maybe there were a hole in some discipline. Maybe they had really good slalomer. In fact, in slalom we have great culture, but in tricks after Kiko, maybe 20 years without like a great skier. So I think the next generation in Italy is going to be competitive more than ours, for sure, but also in all the world. So everything is moving forward thanks to the technology for me, because YouTube, you can see all the new tricks, and also the coaches where are not at all the competition can see and can understand. There is this podcast that you can hear like the preparation of the better athletes. I also take some tips for other skiers listening to the podcast, or of course the broadcasting company with all their job. That's amazing, and so there is a lot of opportunity to get better, and I think also the new program of Marcus and Jenna that I heard that in your advertisement probably are the next step, because it's another aspect, the holistic approach. I'm really curious about it, but now I could do anything, but for sure maybe in the next month I'm gonna get a little bit more interested. I saw also Rob Hazelwood is doing that, so I'm in Italy, but every of you is watching by me, so I'm a shadow. So
No, there's a lot of, I think, the increase in level in water skiing, because obviously the Worlds this year showed it, right? Like there are people who skied unbelievable performances who weren't close to a podium. Like there's been the Worlds defined and sanctioned that the sport is improving, on average and in high performance. But I think also the culture of the sport is improving. Whether it's because of content being created or, more accessible. Now if you want to watch water skiing, there's a way to watch it. If you want to know more about athletes, there's a way to do that. If you want to, become friends on social media with these athletes and follow them, you can do that also. The sport is growing. I think that's definitely a given by now.
Yeah.
Speaking of growth, like when are you going to be able to be back in the water? Did the doctors sort of...
They say like in March, around March.
Around March.
And I'm going to try to get few weeks earlier, but when you have a big injury, it's always better to wait the time it needs.
Yeah.
They said like it took 4 months after the surgery to get the cicatrization. How do you say?
The scarring, yeah.
The scarring of the ligament and everything. So I'm gonna wait, but I'm sure that I'm gonna be ready as I never been. So for sure. And the sport is growing, and I'd like to say that I think it can grow like in trick more. Because I spoke with you and also with Manon in the European Council about tricks, and for me it's no sense to the way we gave the points. So if you do the tricks and the 3 on 5 they give you take the 100% of the trick, and if you don't, so if you have 3 against you have 0. For me, it's slow the process, because maybe you can have people that try the 720 toe line, maybe a little, maybe not 5 they give it to you, but maybe 1, and it's not good that you don't have any points from that, so you don't try,
So okay, so just for clarity, the way tricks work is that you do a trick, the trick has a point value, say, I don't know, skill and back-to-back, 450 points. If 3 out of 5 judges, or 2 out of 3, because some tournaments there are 3 judges, give you they say you did the trick according to rule book, then you get 450 points.
Yeah.
If 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 or more say you didn't do it according to rule book, you get 0.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how there's no other sport like that, to my recollection, right?
No.
So there are more incremental, I guess,
the value of
evaluations.
What you do.
Yeah. So all the freestyle sports are like that. All the diving, the gymnastics, the skating, they're all like incremental and weighted according to how well you executed. So I guess, are you proposing that we go to that system, or that...
I think that nowadays, as we spoke before, the sport is growing. So also the judges council is get better. So all the judges you have, I mean, a lot of them are really prepared to be judging tricks, which is not easy if you're not in the sport and you were not an athlete. But the judging council, it's really hard to prepare the judge to be ready for that case. So I think if you have 5 judges, you can give the 20% of the value of the trick you do, So if all 5 give you take the 100%. If 3, you take the 60%.
Okay.
So you have a value on what the judges see, and in this way you give more responsibility to the judges, that they have to get better, because it's not just yes or no. Yeah, it's really important that you give you the 20%. And if you do the tricks, you spend time in the run, and maybe the trick is not perfect, but you did it. So you have to, of course, you can also have 0 credit, and you take 0 points. But a lot of times, in my case, happens that I lose maybe a medal in the Europeans because I have 3 on 5 in one trick or in 2 tricks, and with that one or both tricks I was in the podium. But it's not just about myself. It's just about that the people, maybe they don't push hard in some tricks, because if they don't give the credit, the old credit, you took 0 points. So it could be another improvement for me.
No, I understand. So basically what you're saying is that the sport has to stay a little bit conservative by fear of losing a trick. And we are at the level where, people like, say, men trickers do 10/11 after Pato, 11 hand tricks per run. If you miss one, that's the difference between first and 6th, right?
Yeah.
And you could miss it by one judge saying no.
Exactly.
Over the half of judges. So people tend to stay conservative and do the tricks that they know they can do super well. Whereas if there was more of like a percentage on the scoring, on the judging, people would, try more, like try different, try other tricks.
And I think also can be more fair, because sometimes maybe if you have 2 tricks that they catch you like 3 on 5 and you got some points, maybe you gain some positions. So I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. I guess the downside, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, it might be that one judge all of a sudden takes too much power, right?
That can be. Maybe we can put like a supervisor judge, elected every Worlds or Europeans, that maybe also check and see if it's correct, all the other decision, just to have a supervision, not to be more powerful, but just to check.
Yeah.
Maybe you have the best, the best elite judge that in tricks that can do that job.
No, I think, honestly, I think, I don't know if this is the right idea, but it seems to me that the sport could use some new ideas in order to continue to grow. Because I feel that certainly the base level has improved, right? Like, this year was 10-6 to get into the finals at Worlds. That's a lot. There's more women tricking over 9. There's a lot of improvement on the numbers, but on the high level, we're still kind of there, like 11-5, 11-7, the occasional 12,000 from Pato, but I think Ace skied 12-7, like 10 years ago or something like this. So, but it took, as you said, for yourself, for your 11, it took the perfect site, perfect rope, perfect boat, perfect crew, and trying out of the ordinary things, right? And maybe the way in which the sport is set up now from judging perspective, it doesn't encourage pushing the limits, I guess.
Yeah, it's my fault, but I'm telling this because a lot of people listen, and I think it's a good way to have a conversation about it. It's not just I think it's the thing to do, but if we can do better, why not?
No, fully agree. Look, so you tricked 11-250, new national record. Your priority, your value is improvement. What are the things that you look forward to work on next year?
Yeah, I just before Worlds, I had already changed my toe run, and I did it once in Nationals, I guess. Nationals. So I already did my best toes, and it was not in the same tournament where I did the the Italian record. So I already could gain some points, and for sure I'm gonna working hard for the ski lines, because is the part that I still have to improve. I think ski line 5 front to back I landed a few times, but it takes time to put it all together.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I will try to programming the season to work a little bit more in the beginning on that kind of tricks. Now, since last year, we bought these dry suits, where thanks to Ciro and Aquaflyer for that are really good for tricking, because are dry suits that suits like a wetsuit. So you can also trick in a good level also if it's cold. And I can have this chance to try these tricks also when it's not like perfect in Italy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to travel a lot because of my work, but I will put all my organization and all the other things that I'm gonna put it together to improve.
Nice. So ski line 5 back, possibly getting that run that you did right before the injury, consistent in toes. Yeah. Nice. Look, I think this is a good way to end, with wishful thinking for next year.
Yeah.
I know you're an avid podcast listener, so you know that this is the time for you to just thank, whoever you want, give your gratitudes out.
Okay, so I will start with my family, like my mom and my father, that always let me do what I love to, and my father also for the side of coaching, that is always being beside me in a good way, or when I was not in a good mood. So it helps me every time, and it's still believing me, and it still believe that I can do better than what I'm doing now. So I'm trying to follow him, and I also trust that I can be better. And for sure, all the Jolly Ski School staff, you and Gennady and your father, Fedele, for the organizations, and to be there, because you are my teammate. So it's always good to have good teammates, good atmosphere when you go skiing, that you can push together. I'm really happy that you come back home in Italy.
So am I.
And all the other teammates, also the young kids that are really working hard. I would like to thank them, because they still have something to put in the sport, and you can see their passion that share with you. So, and all the team members of the ski school, because all of them makes a little help to us to get better.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend, Stefania, and because also she has to stay with me in the bed when I am in a bad mood or when I had an injury, and she's always helped me to trust myself and to be happy to ski better, and also in the life, because we share all the other things. There's not just water skiing. I really like to thank also the Hotel Berta staff, my hotel. It's my family, because we are a family business, so all of them knows that I have the two lives,
right?
So they know that if I have to go for 1 week to Europeans, is allowed it. So I'm really lucky to have this opportunity, because with another job it's gonna be impossible. And so they cover me, and they know that I'm still here to do some good things, and they understand it. So I have to say thanks to them as well. I have to say thanks also to Savas, because he believes in me in slalom, and I'm really motivated for next year to give good score to him. And because his help was huge this year. So to him, and also the Italian Federation with the president Luciano Serafica, he was always beside me after the injury. Elisabetta Galli was there, and all of them helped me to take the right decision when I got the surgery. But when you have some problem, you can always talk to them and try to find a solution. And of course Lorenzo Benassa, because he's the doctor. it was there, and you can call it at 2 a.m. in the morning if you have some problem, and it's gonna be there to help you. And
even more so because he doesn't sleep very well at night.
yeah, also, but it's also because it takes care of his athletes. Or
Yeah.
anyways, if you are a doctor and you know that you are a doctor, you are there to help the people. So his approach, it's a perfect way of approaching a doctor job.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think I will miss somebody, but I think it's enough.
Yeah, well, look,
Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh.
I would like to thank you for this podcast for sure, because it takes me motivated in the winter time, and the water ski broadcasting company as well when I was injured. And so you're doing a great job, and thanks to you that we are improving also. And keep going.
I'll try, man. I'll try. You were at ski school this summer. You saw how strenuous job we had to do. So I really had no energy to be able to continue to do this. But now that things are a little slower, starting to get colder, we're winterizing the boat next week. Now I have the time to dedicate to this. And I want to thank you personally, because as I had a chance to say, at your dad's surprise birthday party 3 months ago, the decision for me to come back wasn't easy, but it's thanks to you and your father, my father, like the people that I'm close to every day, that it reconfirmed that it was the right decision for me. So thank you for being you. Thank you for joining me for the podcast. And until next time, thanks.
Thank you, Lutz.